Porters, let's talk about Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. Now, I've said I'm always going to be fair on this channel. Angel Reese is playing much better. All right, she is. I don't want to act like, look, it's one thing for a couple of games. When you're into 7 and 8 games in a row of your game looking a lot different, there's a chance she has changed her game for the better. And I think it's because of shot selection. All right. Now, some of that may come from the coaching of Tyler Marsh.
What happens when Angel Reese fans go full FBI on Twitter, while poor Tyler Marsh looks like he forgot how to coach a basketball team? You get a front row seat to the meltdown of the century. The Chicago Sky just got torched by the Minnesota Lynx, and now the fanbase is demanding Marsh be escorted out with a security detail and a whistle-shaped eviction notice. What was supposed to be a season of culture building and rising potential has turned into a circus, where every loss feels like a public breakup and every game ends in finger-pointing. Angel Reese's defenders are combing through every clip like it's a true crime docuseries, while Marsh looks like a deer in headlights, stuck between enforcing order and avoiding a social media riot. Is this the beginning of a rebuild, or just the slow-motion implosion of a franchise that mistook Instagram buzz for basketball chemistry? Either way, grab your popcorn, because this drama is hotter than a courtside seat in July.
And the Chicago Sky is falling. The sky is falling, y'all. Chicago Sky fans are crashing out crazy on head coach Tyler Marsh. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't blame them. Not for this one. I do not blame the Chicago Sky fans for crashing out and calling for Tyler Marsh's job on.
Angel Reese fans have officially transcended reality and are now living in a parallel universe where effort equals excellence, stat padding equals dominance, and missing layups is somehow the ref's fault. We're not even being dramatic here. They've reached the kind of delusion where you could hand them a full playbook of actual basketball strategy, and they'd still be screaming about why Reese isn't being handed the MVP trophy just for showing up in uniform. According to them, every missed bunny is sabotage, every blocked shot is a hate crime, and every turnover is a conspiracy worthy of congressional investigation. What's really wild is how they're turning on Tyler Marsh like he's the one bricking open layups or spiking the ball into the fifth row. Marsh, who walked into this franchise with a solid reputation for culture building and accountability, is now being painted as the villain in this reality TV melodrama disguised as a basketball season. But let's entertain a wild thought. What if Angel Reese's actual improvement, because yes, there are flashes, is because of Marsh's coaching? What if the growth we're seeing in her game, however inconsistent, isn't despite him, but because of him? You wouldn't know it listening to her fanbase. They don't want a coach. They want a cheerleader with a clipboard. Someone who will run no plays, clear out the paint, and turn every possession into an ISO reel for her TikTok page. They want cones instead of defenders, empty lanes, no shot clock, and a full PR team standing by to spin every misstep into a highlight. Meanwhile, let's talk about the actual basketball being played, or the attempt at it. Angel Reese is not being guarded like Caitlin Clark. That's not even a debate. Clark's defenders treat her like she's armed with a flamethrower and a vendetta. Reese? They're backing off like she just tested positive for something. Opposing coaches aren't doubling her. They're literally writing, "Let her shoot," on the whiteboard. That's not respect. That's apathy. And yet, despite the leave her wide open defense she's constantly gifted, the results aren't stellar. The shot chart looks like it was drawn by someone throwing darts blindfolded. The layups are either all power or no aim, bulldozer energy with preschool finesse. She'll truck into the paint like it's a Black Friday sale, hurl something in the general direction of the rim, and then look for the foul that never comes. And let's be honest, the refs seem to have stopped calling those because at this point, watching her plow into defenders is just part of the scenery. Reese is racking up blocks like she's in volleyball practice. Rim protectors see her charging in and light up like it's Christmas. Easy highlight, easy denial. Her turnovers aren't even creative. They're just bizarre. Full court no-look passes to no one. Bullet passes to the bench. Glitches in the matrix. If a turnover happens, chances are high it started with Reese, and ended with someone ducking to avoid getting hit. And the box score? Oh, the glorious, misleading box score. 10 points on 27 shots. 11 rebounds, sure, half of them off her own misses, and 5 turnovers. But hey, she hustled, right? That's what the fans see. She played hard. Never mind that she played 37 minutes in a 30-point blowout just to grab that one last rebound. That's not commitment. That's stat padding at its finest. Yet somehow, in this circus, it's Tyler Marsh who's under fire. Forget the weak roster. Forget the fact that even Becky Hammon or Cheryl Reeve wouldn't be able to coach this team into a playoff spot. Forget that Camila Cardoso is already packing for overseas. Marsh emptied his bench halfway through the third quarter while down just 8, and by the time the fourth hit, the deficit was touching 40. And that's when the torches really came out. Fans are now calling for both Marsh and GM Jeff Pagliacca to be fired before midnight, like this is some Cinderella reboot. What's missing in all this chaos is a basic basketball truth. Talent without accountability is wasted potential. Marsh was hired to build culture, not manage egos and keep pace with Twitter trolls. And Reese, for all her hustle, needs a coach who holds her to the same standard as everyone else, not one who folds under the pressure of fan delusion. She's not being doubled, not being schemed against, and yet her inefficiency remains one of the most predictable features of this Sky team. If Caitlin Clark got half this treatment, unguarded, unbothered, she'd drop 50 before halftime and still have time to tweet a Drake lyric. Meanwhile, Reese fans are online demanding custom plays that look like training drills, blaming everyone but their favorite player when things go south. Watching Angel Reese right now is like watching someone play basketball with a YouTube tutorial paused halfway. She's got the raw tools, the hustle, the heart, but what she lacks is polish, poise, and perimeter respect. And no amount of blind loyalty from her fanbase is going to change the fact that her game still needs serious work. But here's the uncomfortable part. Real development means accepting criticism, being coached, and not acting like the floor is out to get you every time a shot misses. The Chicago Sky don't need a new coach. They need a team willing to be coached. And if Reese's fans can't see that, then maybe they're part of the problem too. The Angel Reese experiment in Chicago has officially reached its boiling point. And no, not because she's suddenly transformed into the second coming of Tim Duncan. It's because the gap between the perception of dominance and the reality of her play has never been more glaring. Fans of Reese have hit full FBI mode on social media, ready to launch investigations into why her coach hasn't handed her the MVP trophy, a key to the city, and maybe a Nobel Peace Prize while they're at it. Meanwhile, poor Tyler Marsh, in his first year coaching the Chicago Sky, is trying to steer a ship that's not only sinking, but also somehow on fire, upside down, and actively rejecting lifeboats. He's getting roasted online for every rotation misstep, every substitution error, and every post-game quote that doesn't start with, "Angel Reese is the greatest of all time." The guy's trying to build a team and manage a roster, but Reese's fans don't want a coach. They want a hype man and a headset. The reality? Angel Reese is playing hard. She's hustling. She's putting up double-doubles. But a double-double built on missed bunnies, endless second-chance boards off her own bricks, and garbage-time stats padded in 37-minute blowouts is not elite. It's cardio cosplay. Her game isn't efficient, it's erratic. 1 minute she's bullying her way into the paint with the grace of a rhino on skates, the next she's launching no-look passes to ghosts. Her handle is shaky, her first step slower than a late city bus, and the jump shot? Let's just say defenders sag off her like she's contagious. Opposing coaches literally design their schemes around letting her shoot. Her shot form looks like a cry for help, all hesitation and robotic mechanics. It's not that she's incapable of getting better. She's clearly improving, but the overhype is suffocating. The defenders guarding Caitlin Clark are swarming her like she's radioactive. Meanwhile, Reese is given more open space than a backyard wedding. Teams dare her to shoot, and often she obliges. But still, the Reese brigade continues to spin every block, turnover, and miss layup as some kind of injustice. Every critique is labeled as hate. Every stat is fake news. Even when her own teammates are outperformed, outplayed, and outschemed, somehow the blame always circles back to coaching, referees, or some invisible agenda. Tyler Marsh gets torched for not being Phil Jackson reincarnated with a Reese-themed playbook. He could bench her for fatigue and still get accused of sabotage. Fans scream for his firing, even as Reese's shot chart looks like abstract art in grayscale. Meanwhile, the rest of the roster looks exhausted from chasing rebounds she shouldn't have needed in the first place. Her transition game is more demolition derby than fast break. Her vision narrows under pressure. On defense, she's too often a step late, giving up points while fans ignore the glaring holes and shout, 12 rebounds, as if that erases everything else. Off the ball, she's stationary, waiting for the offense to come to her. There's no cutting, no spacing, just effort wrapped in chaos. And when the final buzzer hits, win or lose, the narrative is already spun. Angel tried. And apparently, effort alone now justifies star status. Even the recent video game cover was less a triumph and more of a satire. The idea that she, of all players, represents the pinnacle of WNBA skill in a season where elite shooters, facilitators, and defenders are redefining the game is baffling. It wasn't marketing, it was meme bait. Someone at that pitch meeting had to pretend that this would move units while knowing full well it would move eyes straight to the comment section. Look, the truth is Angel Reese is still a young player with tremendous hustle, a natural feel for rebounding, and potential. But potential is not production. And production without efficiency is just noise. She's not a bust. She's not a villain. But she's also not the elite player her fanbase swears she is.
Not yet.
And blaming coaches, teammates, and celestial bodies every time she has a rough game won't change that. Improvement takes time, structure, accountability, and yes, a coach who's allowed to coach. So maybe instead of firing Tyler Marsh, we let him develop the team the way Reese herself hopes to develop, not through Instagram highlights or box score padding, but through real, honest-to-God basketball. Because if we're going to keep calling it greatness, it should probably start looking like it.